Welcome to Spreading the Floor with your hosts, Jacob Cooperman and Nigel Petty Fernandez. Your go-to podcast for basketball's forecast.
Welcome back to Spreading the Floor. My name is Nigel Petty Fernandez. To my right is your host with the most, Jacob Cooperman. And today...
You're not going to... Wait, hold on. You're not going to introduce yourself?
I said my name is Nigel
Yeah,
Petty
you said your name is Nigel Petty Fernandez,
Oh,
but...
and I'm the second in command by popular demand, as usual.
Yeah, put some respect on your own name, man.
As usual. And today, we've had a light news week.
Definitely. It's one of those news weeks where I try to... At the end of the week, like last night, I was looking... And I not even looking. I was just like chilling out, and then I realized that we didn't have any topic for today, so I called you up. That's how light of a news week it's been.
Yeah, we usually just kind of have it there. We just usually kind of talk about it as it's happening. But
and I feel like consensus, we know what we want to talk about. Like there's not even really, there doesn't have to be a conversation. We kind of just come in here and say, oh, well, actually, that's not true. I hit you up the day before, being like, hey, this happened. You want to talk about it? You're like, yeah. Yeah,
no, definitely. But it was a light news week. I think, you know, there was a certain point in this podcast career we would just go through and talk about the games that happened through the week, but I feel like there's better things to do than that.
We could definitely do better.
You know, if we're just recapping games, you could go on to NBA.com and do that yourself.
Right.
You know, we want to kind of cover the heavier subjects. You know, we want to kind of, you know, get our opinions out of the way. And one person that's been in the news a lot lately is Jeremy Lin.
One Mr. Jeremy Lin.
For better or for worse.
Probably worse, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna break it all down. We want to talk about it. What the real story is he plays in the G League now.
Right.
He played in China for a year, I think.
He did,
right?
yes. He played in the CBA.
Right. So he came back over here, he plays in the G League, and someone actually called him coronavirus, which is obviously racist.
That's very xenophobic, yeah.
Yeah, you know, like trash talking is one thing, being racist is another thing, you know what I'm saying? So and you got to call a spade a spade.
Well, yeah, we do have to call a spade, and I think overall, let's not even focus on Jeremy Lin for a second. I'm not going to go off on a tangent, I promise, but there has been a rise in Asian American, Taiwanese American hate crimes since coronavirus has started.
Yeah.
Couple that with xenophobia on a mass scale, and it's something that I don't think is being talked about in the same way that there has been a rise in anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
And there's been a rise. So all these things need to be talked about. Obviously, you know, the big thing going on right now is the Black Lives Matter movement, for good reason.
Absolutely.
Right? For the most part, there haven't been that many reported Jewish murders. There haven't been that many at least not that I've seen in the news, right?
Yeah.
Asian American murder. But it's this subtle, and I think Jeremy Lin also detailed that in the Instagram post he put out. It's this subtle kind of undertone.
Right.
Right?
Right. No, I could definitely get behind that, and I could see that happening 100%.
Right.
I mean, people are like, what's it called when you don't shop somewhere on purpose?
You just don't go to the store?
Go to that certain store? You know, it's an actual boycott. People are boycotting like Chinese restaurants and stuff, and it's like, look, have your opinions and everything, but it's like, it's the same, you know what I'm saying? Like, Jeremy Lin has nothing to do with the Chinese government, coronavirus, you know, what it's everything. He's a basketball player.
Yeah, and he was born in America.
He's an American citizen.
He's an American citizen. He has been his entire life. He grew up in, I want to say, California. I'm trying to think of the town specifically.
I honestly wouldn't be able to tell you. I mean, listen, the kid went to Harvard, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Ridiculous. He played on their basketball team.
He averaged 15 points per game in high school, and we'll get into his career in a second, how he got up to the place where he is today. But he averaged 15, 7, and 8 in his high school days. Something ridiculous like that. He didn't even receive a D1 offer.
Yeah, 15, 7, 8. It's pretty good. It's pretty good numbers.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's one of those guys who's been doubted his entire career, and just when you think that, you know, he's kind of started to get the respect he's had just for the fact of his longevity, something happens, something like this happens, it turns it around, and we go back to thinking, here he goes again, you know, just fighting from the bottom.
And I have a lot of respect for Jeremy Lin. Before we get into the rest of the meat and potatoes of the podcast, I have a lot of respect for the way he handled it. He called it out, but he then said, he detailed in a later Instagram post, because I did a little homework before the podcast. He said, essentially, hey, it's not going to do me any good to call out names here. It's only it's something that I don't think gets talked about enough when talking about hate crimes, right? Yeah. Usually the person gets put on blast. And again, I just want to halt all of this and say, when someone is orchestrating a hate crime, is racist, I am not in any way defending those people right now. I just want to make that 100% clear. I want to make my intentions clear. I think I agree with Jeremy Lin, right? I'm going to put this in perspective. If someone acted anti-Semitic towards me, I will not go onto Instagram and blast that person because, like Jeremy Lin said, it's not going to help anything. It's only going to increase the amount of hatred that person and the negative outlook that person has on my race, on my religion, whatever it might be. So I really respect the fact that Jeremy Lin said that. That shows to me that if it wasn't already apparent, that man has just a really good head on his shoulders. He's a smart guy.
He's so smart.
Obviously, he went to Harvard.
So smart.
He's a true point guard. We'll get into his career in a second, but a lot of respect for Jeremy Lin, and I hope at some point we can get him on the podcast because I think
that'd be so. Yeah. I'd love Jeremy Lin.
His story is just so powerful, man.
Especially Linsanity.
Linsanity.
I was alive for that, man.
It was like a 13-game stretch, correct?
Well, it's something ridiculous.
He averaged 22 points per game, 2 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, we'll get into it. I don't know. I don't think he should have ever been traded after that. Anyways, whatever. Doesn't matter.
It's partially Carmelo's fault, but we'll get into that.
We'll get into the meat and potatoes. I know we said that like 40 times already, but we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes. I did also see that he didn't want to call the guy out.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of stuff going on today without getting too political with like cancel culture and stuff.
Right.
And you do that, then automatically people shark you on Twitter and all that. And you know what? Everybody does stuff that they're not supposed to do. Everybody makes mistakes. If we continue doing that to every single person that comes out and makes a mistake, eventually
there's gonna be more harm.
There's not gonna be anybody here because we're all human. We all make mistakes. Should you get away with something like that? Absolutely not. However, the alternative, could be just a nasty, vicious cycle. And NBA players talk shit. You know what I'm saying? So calling someone coronavirus, yes, it's racist, it's bad, and everything. But then you cancel them. They lose their jobs. Now they have to go work as a janitor somewhere.
I was gonna say, you cancel. I mean, realistically, right? And I'm not downplaying the event by any means. So saying coronavirus to someone that's, I believe he is Taiwanese American.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what his nationality is. If he's Asian American, right? Saying that to him is despicable. It's ugly.
Right.
But I'm wondering what the chances were that he said that in passing. Because like you said, guys trash talk. They get into, it'd be the same. No, it wouldn't be the same. I was going to say, I feel like, I wonder what the chances would be that was a passing comment.
It was. Was it not on the court? I
assume it was on the court.
It was on the court.
Yeah.
So
I mean, but it doesn't. That doesn't. I apologize.
I just want to cut you off. No.
I just want to put a bumper on that by saying it doesn't change the effect that message has had and the intent behind it. Because even if someone is shit talking you during the game and they say that, right?
Right.
That's still despicable.
Oh, it's awful.
The fact that he equates coronavirus to a man that was born in the U.S.
Yeah.
Has citizenship in the United States of America just because of the way he looks.
Right.
That's despicable, right? You could call him so many other things. You could call him bitch. You could call him. I try not to curse too much, but you could call him punk. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Like,
don't say anything racist.
Right. Don't say anything racist. Like, I know that there's this competitive nature in basketball, and Nigel, when we played and when I played with everyone else, it seems like an essential part of basketball every single time is the shit talking.
Oh, it's the funnest part. It's part of the game.
Yeah, it's part of the game. But let's not let it get to that level where you're disrespecting. I'm not gonna say an NBA legend because I don't think he is, but a guy that
someone's culture though. It doesn't matter who it is.
Right.
Yeah.
But even a guy like Jeremy Lin that's trying to claw his way back into the NBA, a guy that's honest, a guy that just to me has led a generation. I mean, think about how many Asian American kids now look at Jeremy Lin and before. During Linsanity.
Jeremy Lin, Yao Ming.
There's recorded digital evidence of kids saying, right? Like, oh, I want to be like Jeremy Lin, Linsanity.
Yeah.
I feel like I was watching this video earlier and there was tons of clips of kids being like, well, we feel like we have a right to be in the NBA now. We feel like we have a chance. And I cannot overestimate or overstate the importance of someone paving a way for other people because way back, and I'll just equate it to podcasting for a second. Way back when we started this podcast, there was I could have always told you that we could have taken this big Nigel, but I didn't know how well we were going to be getting paid for it, how much of a steady income it was going to provide for us. And then guys like Joe Budden came along, guys like Joe Rogan came along,
right?
signed exclusivity deals, went over to Patreon, Flagrant 2, the guys over there, Charlemagne the God. These people all paved the way. And now I feel like we can really make it.
I agree.
And the importance of that cannot be overstated. So
Right.
for Jeremy Lin to do that for someone, you can't trash talk that man, but just try not to keep it racist.
You can't disrespect a man's culture. I
You
mean,
can't.
That's a grown ass man, especially the stuff that Jeremy Lin's been. I mean, look, if you're in the G League, first of all, there's a reason you're in the G League. I doubt if any of those guys that he's playing against right now have had the NBA career and NBA respect that Jeremy Lin has earned.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Jeremy Lin played with Kobe.
Play with Kobe.
Okay, Jeremy Lin played with Carmelo Anthony. Jeremy Lin has a fucking ring. Okay?
Yeah, with the Toronto Raptors.
So like the fact that anyone would come out and try to take him down, like it's okay, like we talked about, it's okay to talk trash. But the fact that someone would try to low blow him like that, you know, I mean, you just can't do that. And getting back to what you said, you know, Jeremy Lin and Yao Ming, those are people who kind of, you know, would basketball be as popular in China if it wasn't for people like that. You know what I'm saying? Jeremy Lin went to Harvard. Where do these schmucks go to?
Not Harvard.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that you would just pull something racist out of the bag is, you know, look, listen.
It shows a lack of intelligence.
It's a lack of intelligence. It's a lack of respect. It's a lack of, like, you can't joke. It's too soon. First of all, it's too soon. There's been too many deaths with the whole pandemic and everything. You can't be blowing that out. But like what I wanted to bring up earlier was Michael Jordan loved talking shit.
Right.
And if I don't know if you remember, but there was one time that he talked shit against Muggsy Bogues.
Yep.
And he told Muggsy Bogues to shoot it, you fucking midget. Quote.
Yep.
All right. Would he get away with that today if like people know?
He might get his shit off. Because I know midget could be offensive, but
I don't think he'd get away with it.
You're
today.
supposed to say small people, right?
I think.
All right,
whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Because I will get started. But like I just the way that our culture is kind of oriented today.
Right.
I don't think that you could get away with calling someone.
No,
midget.
Midget is harsh.
I mean, if you're gonna just because the guy's short, you know, I think that's legendary trash talk. Do I think that you should be able to say something like that? You know, in the heat of the moment, you're Michael Jordan, the greatest to ever do it. Maybe we'll let it. Maybe you should get it like a pass or like a slide for it. You know, as long as you're not doing it to everybody, right? You know what I'm saying? But just the way that our culture is oriented today, I don't think MJ would get away with it today.
Probably
and
not.
With that being said, the fact that someone would come out and say a racist remark on the court, you know what I'm saying, thinking that it would just be all fun and games, like this is not how 2021 is going. Well, that's just not where we are right now as a society.
Right. Well, it also goes back to, I think the fact that there's the Black Lives Matter movement, and again, I'm not taking anything away from the movement. I think that there are, I don't think the Asian American community and the attacks that are happening on them right now are receiving, and I even think some of the, you know, the Jewish American communities, some of the attacks that we're receiving, I've seen, it's like, is anyone even paying attention to this? They're not getting, and again, Black Lives Matter movement, extremely important.
Right.
I am totally on board with it. Just want to make that clear for the third time. But I think in the same way that it's receiving a lot of media coverage and a lot of companies are jumping on that, and a lot of, obviously, you know, like CNN, Fox, everyone's talking about it, right? Maybe not as much now as they were.
Right.
But they're still talking about it. It takes away from some of the Asian American communities that are receiving attacks right now. The Jew, you know, and it might, and sure, it's not happening on the same scale, but I think it's important that we take a look at that as well. Yeah, and that's the reason why I feel like that player said that. Oh yeah, well we can get
away
our
with
stuff
this.
off. Yeah, like because he's Asian American. You know, everyone makes the Asian eyes. You know, and everyone, you know, everyone. That's like a mainstay. But that's the thing. It's because it's not receiving a lot of press coverage. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think.
I agree. There's definitely a lot of people getting attacked right now with everything going on. I don't know why us as a people, like, we just decide, and I'm getting political, whatever. We just decide that we got to be locked up for 9 months. Okay, let's just start, like, hating on people. You know what I'm saying? Let's just start shooting people. Let's just start, like, really disliking a lot of people.
There's so much hatred in the world.
You know what I'm saying? Now. But that's just because we're all, like, locked up, and I guess we have nothing better to do than just to hate other people. And then the media and the news don't help with that
at all.
And then, you know, Jeremy Lin ended up going down for the cause. You know what I'm saying? It's a shame that we have that in a sport like basketball where everyone is so accepting and everyone wants to use their power to make change and everything, that's where that's happening.
Yeah, man. I think you're right. I think everything's divisive now. Excuse me, and it would just serve a lot more people if we could have open conversations. I think what Jeremy Lin did with this event is he opened up the dialogue. Instead of attacking, he just put it out there. He put it into the universe. Hey, this happened. This happened. But guess what? I'm not going to name the person, but you better believe we're going to have a dialogue about it. I'm not going to let this one slip just because I'm in the G League. By the way, G League been gaining a lot of press recently.
Yeah, no, they've been balling out in the G League.
So it's almost perfect timing. Not that this happened, but that Jeremy Lin decided to take the higher road, but also notify people that this was going on.
Yeah.
I really like the way he handled that.
Well, he handled it right, like you said. He handled it the right way. He's using his position for good. You know what I'm saying? He's using, people will listen to Jeremy Lin because he's Jeremy Lin, and for that reason, he's going to try to lead people in the right direction.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's really good. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, going back to what you're talking about with his career, a lot of people think that they can trash talk him. Oh, because he's in the G League right now. A lot of people write him off as a player simply because he was like a pinball around the league for a while, right? He played in Houston, the Knicks, Golden State, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Atlanta. But for the large part on a lot of those teams, he was balling out. I mean, he could have been a starter on some of those teams. He was a starter on Brooklyn, and he was averaging great numbers until he got injured.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He was on the Knicks. He had Linsanity, but before that, he was a serviceable player. He played on teams like Houston, where he had guys like James Harden that got on board when he was on the team, and then obviously the ISO-heavy style of play that James Harden orchestrates kind of took over, and he never got the shine that he deserved. I think his entire career, man, it just comes down to being unlucky and not getting a fair shake. I mean, dude, when he was drafted, the scouts, they said that he was a smart player with a lack of athleticism and speed. And I personally watched Jeremy Lin highlights before the podcast today.
Yeah.
That man has athleticism.
Oh, yeah. No,
Don't let it fool you. He'll pass because he's a smart player. And he relies heavily on skill and getting in the gym, but that man has athleticism. Let's not pretend like he is not a threat in the ISO spot.
Yeah, no, he has a couple of like really famous clips too, like
Yeah.
the one where he waves off Kobe.
Right.
Kobe lets him take the shot and
He's
he
got
nails
heart
it.
too.
And then that New York Knicks game winner.
Yeah,
the one
against
that
Toronto?
lives in my heart.
Toronto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes 2 seconds, 1 second. Lin from downtown. They gave him too much, and he nailed it. I think that they should have kept him in New York. I think that he was blossoming in New York. He was really coming out of his shell, and they saw that his trade stock was going up, and they got rid of him.
Yeah, because Carmelo
Hindsight,
Anthony couldn't hack the fact that someone else was getting as much attention as him at that point.
Ridiculous. I love Carmelo.
Yeah, no, I love Carmelo too, but that was a little bit of
I think a lot of big star NBA players make that mistake, and it ends up just bad for the whole team.
Well, everyone wants to be the guy on their team without getting off on too much of a tangent.
No, I agree. But like even Kobe went to the Lakers, and he was like, "Look, it's either me or Shaq."
Yeah.
And that's why Shaq went to the Heat. Imagine how many rings Kobe would have if Shaq stayed in the team.
Yeah, that would be oof.
You know what I'm saying?
Woo!
Yeah.
Because that was prime Shaq, correct? On the Lakers?
Yeah, that was prime
Yeah,
Shaq.
man.
And even on the Heat, Shaq,
Yeah.
he was kind of coming down a little bit.
Yeah, but he was still that
he
would
was
have been
still
ridiculous.
there.
That would have been ridiculous.
Right.
Man.
So that just goes to the head of an NBA player, and Jeremy Lin just happened to be on that side, the wrong side of an NBA superstar that wanted the attention, and he ended up getting hurt for it. If he stayed in the Knicks, do I see him having a better career? Yes. Or if he stayed on any team longer than one season,
Right.
yes, I do see him having a better NBA career. I mean, like, you can't go to a different team every year and expect to do. I mean, like, what? He spent 2 seasons with the Houston Rockets,
Right.
2 seasons with the Brooklyn Nets, and the rest of the teams is just 1 season.
And
right?
not a lot of people really viewed him as a starting caliber player. And in the spots, like coming off that New York Knicks season, he was supposed to be the guy in Houston until James Harden got there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
all these little things that even when it looked like he was going to get a fair shake. Brooklyn, he gets injured. Houston,
Yeah.
James Harden comes in.
Yeah.
New
I
York,
remember.
Carmelo wants him out of it's all of these different things where it's like either he never got the respect that he deserved to become a starter, or when he did, somebody got in the way, man.
Yeah,
It's
a shame.
unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, and he could play in the NBA for sure.
I
know that for a fact.
I think he should be in the NBA. Do I think he should be on the Warriors, so to say? Maybe not.
Yeah, well, he'd be coming off the bench on the Warriors, I think.
Yeah,
obviously.
But do I think that even like a young New York team maybe?
I was gonna say like he could be on the Knicks.
He could come back to the Knicks. I could see him doing good things on like maybe the Heat. I could see him doing good things on like I think that he'd play a good role on like a semi borderline playoff team.
Portland could use a little extra scoring off the bench.
Yeah, Portland could do good.
But then also Carmelo's there, so I don't know.
I don't know if we got to put them back together. I don't think Carmelo didn't like the guy. I just think that he wanted his.
Jeremy Lin's gonna come in, like Carmelo's gonna be in the film room, and all of a sudden the silhouette in the door, it's just, I've been expecting you. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just waiting in the doorway.
Yeah.
Hello, Carmelo.
No, I mean, it's craziness. I do want to see that man back in the NBA. How old is he now, by the way? I have no idea.
Here. Let me check.
How old is Jeremy Lin, man?
Jeremy Lin, overview. He is
32.
32. Oh, come on.
That's
he's
prime.
He's still got a lot left in the tank. Come on.
Yeah, no. I think that he'd be a good veteran presence on a team that
put
him on the Pelicans or something.
Give him a veteran contract, man.
Yeah.
Have him come off the bench. Like even off the bench, I'm sure he'd be fine with a decent amount of minutes.
Yeah, but put him on the Pelicans. Let him be around those young guys. Let him teach, because he's so smart. Let him teach them what he knows. I'm sure he could do nothing but help Lonzo.
Yeah, if Lonzo doesn't get shipped off.
Yeah, we could talk about that too. I really hope he doesn't.
Yeah, we could talk about that post-pod for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, Jeremy Lin's he's had one of those NBA careers where everyone knows his name.
Of course.
And we just wish we got to see Jeremy Lin. I'm thinking about Derrick Rose. We just wish we got to see Jeremy Lin at his full potential. The same way we feel about Derrick Rose. We just wish we got to see him at his full potential. You know what I'm saying? So
it's all those what do you call those things? The what ifs. Duh.
The what ifs.
Why was that so hard for me to remember?
What do you call?
I said if what. Yeah. It was like, come on, man. Just reverse the letters, Cooperman. Yeah, it's one of those things too, and I love how Linsanity was kind of like, remember, it seems like an eternity now, but it seems like an eternity ago now. Remember, what's his homie with on the Pacers?
Homie on the Pacers.
Homie on the Pacers, and in the bubble he went off.
Oh,
I'm trying to remember his name, but he had he went on. He was averaging over a 6-game or even double-digit game period. He was averaging crazy numbers
in the bubble.
In the bubble, I'm trying to remember, and a lot of people compare. They called him Bubble Jordan.
Well, he was
TJ
Warren.
There you go.
Warren, yeah.
TJ Warren.
Look it up anyway.
He had a similar, Jeremy Lin, like Linsanity, obviously, because there's fans in the stadium and basketball. I think was in a better position then than it is now. That's always something we could talk about on our whatever podcast we want to talk about that on. But TJ Warren had a similar. You could look at those two kind of events. I thought it was funny is almost a little bit parallel to each other, except obviously different circumstances, different times. I'd say Jeremy Lin was definitely more. His stretch was more widely accepted, given a lot more press. I mean, every newspaper in New York was talking about that.
Yeah,
they got all their puns off. Linsanity or all Lin on Lin, all that stuff.
Linsanity's a sick name though too.
It is.
I mean,
and I'd go Linsane if he got on the podcast.
I'd love that. Yeah, I would love to have Jeremy Lin on the podcast.
We'll get him on here. And
there would just be so much I'd want to talk about, and his career is still so far from over, and I'd like to just see where he sees himself going,
I think he wants to be in the NBA. I mean, he's detailed that many times. I've seen him in pro runs, man. He's a true point guard.
Oh yeah.
He's a true point guard.
A point guard in his purest form, definitely.
Yeah.
Really smart, intelligent. I mean, we've already said that. Really smart, intelligent guy. Really just knows the game of basketball. Knows, he could see the play unfolding before it comes.
Right.
Is he top tier? Has he proven that he's top tier? No. Do I think that he could have been top tier at some point in his career if he was given the chance? I'd say there's a good possibility.
I think we saw with Linsanity that if you give him enough time, which is something that I don't think we saw in the NBA, if you give him enough time to get settled, he can be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hot take.
Linsanity happened, and they just shipped him off.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous. Stupid. But, yeah, I mean, I guess with that, is there anything else we wanted to detail?
No.
I mean, yeah, I wish the best to Jeremy Lin, man. Keep playing in the G League. He's balling out in the G League. He's averaging about 22 points per game, if I remember correctly.
I mean, he's a good basketball player. He really should be.
He's feasting down there, so I wish him the best with the rest of his career. I think we'll see him, hopefully Isaiah Thomas in the NBA at some point, too.
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas is another one. We can talk about that for the post-pod.
Yeah, so I just hope we see all these guys and we see them come up and get the respect that they rightfully deserve.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. All
right, well, that's been episode 41 of Spreading the Floor. I almost said Practice Podcast because I do those. Spreading the Floor. I've been your host, Jacob Cooperman. To my left,
Nigel Petty Fernandez.
And we will see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned for the post-pod segment where we will decide in 2 seconds what we're going to talk about there.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Peace, guys.